auction house is I see a full page of items up for 100 million gold, 10 million gold, 8 million gold, for example, here and here. But those items aren't going to sell. Those items haven't sold. This one's got 16 hours to go. It's not going to sell in the next 16 hours. Um, you got to figure out what the real price is. And the best way to do that is never look on page 1, 2, or 3. Personally, whenever I use the auction house, I always start and say 4, 5, 6, and move onward from there because that's when it's going to become more relative pricing. Like, okay, I don't know why this is here, 500, 500 million for that. But you can see here, it gets more relative, less than a million, barely 2 million. As you keep going down, you're going to see more prices that are reasonable, 500,000 even, 600,000. And it kind of says, like, if those items are there and they're not selling, that means that the item's probably only going to be worth about 500,000 or so. If there's 2 pages of items that are 10 million in gold, it's going to be very obvious that that item is not worth 10 million in gold. And if you were to post yours for 9 million gold and think you're undercutting them, you're out of your mind because there's going to be 7 pages of people posting it for 600,000. Oh, hello, cat. What's up? You need to go shoo shoo. Sorry about that. Um, but yeah, it's ridiculous what people will sell and buy stuff for. But I mean, upgrades are upgrades and they're a huge deal. And there's only 2 categories of items you can sell, and that is pretty much items for people who are new to level 60, which it's a terrible way to phrase it, but your quote unquote trash gear is their treasure. And the other stuff is the big upgrade items, the stuff that people who are 60 that are decked out. I mean, there's not a lot of items I would dish out millions for to upgrade, say, my chess piece, but there's some things I would pay a couple 100,000 for very easily. So you've kind of got to get the mindset of where you are. If you're someone who, let's go over the 3 different ones I can think of off the top of my head. You're in my position. You're kind of comfortable. You don't really need to upgrade any gear, and you got money to throw around. You're not going to spend a lot on anything. It's going to be very rare that you're going to spend more than a couple million on an item ever. Um, so, that's the frugal market, let's call it, or one end of the frugal market. The other market is going to be the complete opposite, where you're not like me. You've barely got any money. Your gear sucks, and you can't get through any of the content, so you need to buy gear. You have to keep in mind that there are tons of people like that out there. And all these people, they'll pay whatever they have if they think it's a big upgrade. Like, oh, my weapon is currently 600 damage, but there's one in the auction house for 1,000, and it's not 12 million gold. They're gonna jump on that like immediately. Uh, and then there's the middle crowd where it's like they don't really need a whole lot of gear, but they're willing to spend because they need bigger upgrades. But they don't want to be too frugal because they know that it'll get them stuck in Act 1. So you've got to kind of adopt these different mindsets when you're selling gear. Like on my Witch Doctor here, I've kept a lot of blues. Where is he here? None of these blues are going to sell for millions by any means, but if I go to the trade forums with these and make an auction, each of these will probably sell for like between 50 and 100,000 gold very easily. Which is so much more than if I were to vendor this, if I were to disenchant it, give it to a friend, whatever. So don't waste your items. And I get so frustrated when people do this. Don't waste your items. I implore anyone watching this, never waste your items. Because if you can't use the auction house, and this is what I'm moving into the end of this stream here, if you can't use the auction house because either it doesn't let you, or you don't feel comfortable, or you find that my advice hasn't helped you, you're never selling stuff, go to the Diablo trade forums. Now give me a sec while I change my screen on XSplit to show you guys. Screen region. Oops, not yet. Sorry, 1 second. I'm actually gonna have to move chat out of the way for now. If you guys do have any chat questions, though, feel free to ask it. I'm still gonna answer them when they come up. I just have to move this briefly. Okay, here we go. Diablo 3 trade forums. Let's make this all big so everyone can see it. Um, the trade forums are not pretty and they're not well organized, and anything you post on the front page is going to get bumped almost immediately. Let's refresh this because it's probably about an hour old or so. And you're going to see tons of stuff on here that you're going to ignore and not know what to do with. So 1400 DPS bow. Here's an example. This guy here, he's looking for a lot more than the auction house would give him, and he's afraid that if he puts on the auction house, it will just rot for a couple days because someone might not want to pay 36 million for it. But if he takes it to the forums, here we go, instantly an offer for 36 million gold, 38, 40. So this kind of gives you the option of driving up your price too. If you've got a good item and you don't want to put in the auction house, auction it off through the forums. Because if this guy had only thought maybe I'd get 30 million for tops, first offer, awesome. Second offer, better. Third offer, or whatever, third offer, amazing. So you could get more money out of the forums sometimes, but the unfortunate thing is, more often than not, you'll get lowballed on the forums. Like someone could have also just as easily posted 28 million or 20 million, and this guy would have lost money. It's a toss up of what you do and how you want to do it. I personally recommend lowballing yourself at any opportunity you get. Not to the point where you're gonna drive yourself to the poorhouse, but you want to sell gear. You want to move items. If you're playing and farming and you're full inventory, you're gonna want to get rid of those items. If it takes you 4 days to sell them, then you're just wasting all that time. You're not farming, or you're wasting this and that. But where's my posts here? I'll show you guys one of the auctions I did in the past. View my posts. Da, da, da. My things are so full of bumps, by the way. It'll probably take me a second to find it. Oh, just while I'm going through this too, if you guys ever want to go check me out, I've got 3 big posts on the crafting and artisan forums. I do craft a lot of items for people, and I do my best to help you make money. Um, but the biggest thing is I try and promote the fact that there's verified crafting through streams, so people won't rip you off. So just search for Rifkin on the forums or keep an eye out for my thread. It will help you. Where the hell's my auction? It was just like 2 nights ago. I can't even find it on this stupid. There we go, Inferno auction. Sorry about that. Let's go to page 1 here. I'll open up the original image, and you guys can see how they didn't have anything too spectacular in this list. If I can select it. But it took me like not even 5 minutes just to copy paste all these items into Paint and paste them here, put a number on it, and put it up on the forums. Look, a 1,000 damage weapon, 659 damage weapon, barely 1,000 damage bow. These are all items that you would never see them on the auction house. They would never make the light of day on the auction house. But I took them to the forums, and you can see here, I'll make it a little bigger actually, to make it easier. People bid money on them. 100K for something. I sold some boots here. These actually went for like 300K buyout before the auction was over. 10K, 12K, 91K, 20K, 15K, 30K for what would essentially be garbage. And I got, all in all, like for what I would have only, like here I even stated here, anything on my son, just break at the blacksmith. Um, minimum bid was 2,000 gold because that's what the tier would have cost from the blacksmith, and I turned it out to basically get almost more than 100 times, 1,000 times my other possible investment with it. So it's really worth you guys' time. Take 5 minutes, let the thread go for a couple hours, come back and update it once in a while. Let's try to make this small again, and just basically sell off your crap. It's a good way to make money. And like even if it's not crap, it's a good weapon. Like I believe someone linked earlier, strap lapid linked that item, that pole arm, that actually very sick pole arm that's like available at level 54. You would sell that on the forums for a very decent amount as long as you know how to advertise it. Partway down here, I point out that maybe it's page 2. So yeah, I'm not forcing bids here, but the boots, the ones that ended up selling for 300K, are worth at least 200K. I've sold them on the auction house before. You put them up, whatever, and that kind of forces people to drive up their prices a bit. So if you know how to sell your stuff, great. Put more time, more effort into it. You'll get a lot more return. But I really stress use the trade forums as much as you guys can. Maybe you don't want to use it for this, by the way, for selling. Maybe you want to use it for buying. You can often find great things on here. Like these are all these already sold NMCs, so I'm sorry I can't sell you them. This is from a couple nights ago. But let's say someone's selling a crossbow. Maybe you're not going to get first bid in on this, but a crossbow that's 1,000 damage, 3 million first offer, 12 million, or 6 million, whatever. You can put your bids in here, and with some luck, get it for way cheaper than it would have been on the auction house alternatively. Or if you do have a good one, just sell it. And look at this guy. Didn't even have a set price, all the way, I believe, up to 11, was that I saw? 11 million for a crossbow. This is something you would never see on the forums. You would never, or sorry, on the auction house. You would never post an item on the auction house for 11 million that has 1,000 damage because it would not even show up on the freaking auction house. That's why there's another website I'm going to throw out here, d2jsp.org. It's another a very heavy trading oriented forums. I stick to the Diablo official ones just because it's simpler. But I really encourage people that if you can't move items on the auction house and you're not having luck selling to friends or anything, hit up the trade forums. This is another great way to make money. The one thing you do have to keep in mind though is sometimes someone will bid on an item and they'll forget they bid it, they'll spend their money, and when you go to sell it to them, it won't be available. So there's going to be that 1 in 10 times where you won't be able to collect money that you've thought you've made, but just go resell it the next day then. But that's the best advice I have for you guys trying to use the trade forums. It's really, there's not a whole lot to go over for them. They're very easy, they're very simple, they're very non-complicated. The only thing I will point out here though is some people have forum woes because maybe they have a World of Warcraft account that is inactive, and when you log in, you see your portrait here, and if you go to reply to a post, you won't be able to. It'll say you're banned, quote unquote, or whatever. It's just because your account's frozen, it's running out of time. Just make sure you're using your Diablo related account because it also shows your battle tag when you're posting stuff for people to get in contact with you. Or that's a StarCraft one, sorry. Your Diablo battle tag. You can add them in game or have them add you. It's all around easier. So just make sure you're using your Diablo forum icon while posting. Outside of that, I think that covers just about all of the basics to the auction house that I can hope to offer advice for. Just go back to Diablo. This thing. I'll leave it to chat real quick. Does anyone have any questions before I turn off my stream? Anything else I can help you guys answer or related to the auction house, looking up items, whatever? Oh, how geared is your whiz and what do you farm? What I farm actually varies quite frequently. I'll show you my gear here real quick, or I'll log in and show you my stats. Patterns. Do you mean buying patterns or selling patterns, Strapalap? I have the 160 because that's what I put all my time into, and that's why it's very well geared. I've got about 24,000 damage without my weapon enchant on. You can see my other stats here. I've got pretty high resist for having glass cannon as one of my talents. More importantly, though, I've got a big HP pool, so it lets me farm anything. I can go to Whimsyshire and eat 1 or 2 hits. I don't get one-shot by anything anymore. The only thing that can one-shot me really are bosses and super hard elites. Yeah, here's how I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown of patterns. The prices are changing rapidly, so please, if you're watching this video in the future, don't take this as direct reference. I have lots of 6-stat patterns, and I bought all of them. Belt, I believe I paid 1.8 million for. Boots, I